Well, the Prime Minister has been in France. He now moves to the United States for a very crucial meeting with President Trump, several others. I'm joined by Ambassador Taranjit Singh Sandhu, our former ambassador to the United States, somebody who's followed that relationship very, very closely. Thanks very much, Ambassador Sandhu, for being with us. Now, the visit comes at a time of Prime Minister Modi, comes at a time when tariffs are back as a concern, and also the entire issue of deportations. We've seen Indians in chains being deported from America to India on board military aircraft. Do you believe that these two themes would be one of the central themes that comes up in the conversations?
Look, Vishnu, this relationship between two vibrant democracies has always had its series of challenges and opportunities. And in the current, let me just remind you of, change of administrations in 2014, change of administration in 2016, 2020, now 2025. And every time we have overcome it. So certainly there are going to be challenges. And you have mentioned two of them. Look, this relationship is much deeper and much wider. And all aspects will get covered, strategic will get covered, and there are a number of issues there. Economic, trade, IT, you are talking of AI, new emerging technologies. That is part of India-US partnership today. And certainly not to forget energy, nuclear, as well as space. All these are going to be part of the discussion. The good part is that they are talking very early. This is just the first 3 weeks of Trump administration, and Prime Minister is going there on the invite. And I think it's a good opportunity to get your point of view across so that in the coming 4 years, the relationship will stabilize and deepen.
No, I think that the relationship is absolutely on sound footing. However, I think the imagery and the deliberate release of that footage of Indians who were bound and put on a military transport as opposed to, chartered aircraft, as has been the case in the past, has left many feeling that there has been an element of insensitivity in dealing with people. Obviously, illegal shouldn't have been there. And it's hurt sentiments in our country. And that isn't to say that we look away from illegal migration, not at all. But in terms of the way this was dealt with, just putting people on a military transport, do you not believe that it's important for our Prime Minister to explain to Donald Trump and the others that, look, let's figure it out. Maybe we can send our own aircraft to bring them back?
No, Vishnu, let me tackle this one. Now, there are 2-3 aspects of this.
Yes.
First is the humanitarian aspect. Look, if there's any wrongdoing, incorrect behavior, I'm sure already the External Affairs Minister and MEA has said that they are taking it up, and need be in that discussion, I'm sure the Prime Minister will also take it up. But there are other aspects also which must be kept in mind. One, that people who have got them to this position should be held responsible. Look, they not only be held responsible, be punished. I fought the elections from Amritsar. And in 2024, throughout the elections, I was speaking about it, kept cautioning people. And if you look at the timing of these boys who have gone out, that is much after the elections. So look, that's one part. The number 2 part is that they are back home. There's something called the jail, and jail is not welcome anywhere. The other part here, which is important, is the legal part. Look, illegal migrants are a problem world over. We have a certain attitude here too. So keep that in mind. Also, we have been telling these people, we have been telling the parents, and I think that's the long-term solution which is very important, that we need to create education and skills and opportunities here, which are happening, and encourage these people, especially the youth that not to waste 30, 35, 40 lakhs. And if you look at some of my campaign speeches at that time,
Right.
I made a point. So I'm not talking in the air. I was saying that
fair enough.
Is that money?
Ambassador, just be with us for a moment.
They will come back.
Right, just be with us for a moment. I'm going to go across to my colleague Nikunj Garg, who joins me now from Washington. Nikunj, it's awfully cold for you not to be wearing a much warmer jacket. But be that as it may, what's on the agenda in this very crucial visit?
It's not awfully cold, Vishnu. It's fine. I mean, by the standards of Washington, D.C., it can actually get very bad. This is fine. But coming to the more important things about the agenda of the visit, look, our Prime Minister, amongst the first leaders of the world community, of the International Committee of Nations, to be arriving here to meet Mr. Trump, who has obviously got a very resounding mandate this time round, is in itself sets the ball rolling as far as Indo-US ties are concerned. And of course, from the Indian side, the agenda will always remain, the primary part of that agenda will always remain the high-end tech transfer. In terms of technological collaboration, defense sector would obviously remain right at the top priority. And also, increasingly, as we know, AI is becoming a sector where India would want to collaborate with the world. Sam Altman, the poster boy of the AI, was in India just last week meeting our top ministers there, and we have Prime Minister arriving in Washington D.C. tomorrow after co-chairing that all-important AI summit in Paris. So quite clearly, technology and defense sector would remain the top priority. Nonetheless, this time we have seen just before his visit, unseemly thorn on the side coming, and that is the migrant issue. Illegal migrant issue. You were discussing the treatment. Treatment apart, India has always been raising multiple issues concerning the H-1B visa holders as well, about the fact that their pensions and other social security benefits not being transferred properly when they go back to India. So people always will remain the centerpiece of any relationship. As long as the people, the community, what becomes the diaspora or what is the migrant community or what is the working community is happy, the relationship between any two nations would remain happy. And when it comes to the largest democracies in the world, one the most powerful democracy, another one the biggest democracy in the world, people would remain the centerpiece of that relationship, and people have to remain the centerpiece of that relationship. My sense is the Prime Minister and his team would obviously push very hard to try and ensure a fair treatment even to the illegal migrants who are being sent back. Other than that, obviously, all people-related issues would be on the top of the agenda. Prime Minister himself is a very keen watcher of the international developments.
Yeah. No, that's a really important point. And just be with us as I go back to Ambassador Taranjit Singh Sandhu. It is people at the end of the day, Ambassador Sandhu, who bedrock the relationship between India and the United States. And one of the biggest humanitarian concerns is the delay in getting visas for ordinary Indian citizens in India wanting to visit legitimately their relatives, friends, whoever it is in the United States. America says that they're looking to work around this and to try and ensure that visas get issued fast. But how is this something that perhaps needs to be looked at more closely? America needs to up its game to issue visas.
So, absolutely, Vishnu, this was also a part which really hit big time during COVID, and a lot of contract employees were uncontracted, and they have not been able to fill those gaps. And this aspect, in fact, if you recall, when EM visited this time too, he made that point with the new Secretary of State. Because in addition to what all you have said, I've always underlined this to the American side, that these people are the best friends of United States in India. So therefore, the visas for them should be given quick, fast, and in time. And also recall, as my friend just mentioned about the diaspora, 4 million plus. This element is actually the one which brings value and competitive edge to United States. It has brought. And in addition, we have about 400,000 Indian students now
Yes.
and 2/3 of them are in STEM areas. So these people, and especially about H1Bs, you have very correctly said that there is a general trend in the United States. There's some arguments even within the MAGA movement. But what President Trump has said himself, it's very important.
Right.
He has spoken about the value of H1B, etc., etc.
In fact, Nikunj, the other issue is, of course, on tariffs. Now, India in the last little while, in some time back, has in fact been proactive in dealing with tariffs. For example, tariffs on Harley Davidson motorcycles coming into India has been rectified. There are other areas as well. So and I believe you ride a Harley, so you'd know more about this, Nikunj. But I think the point is that India would look to convince President Trump that, look, we are working towards finding an equitable solution when it comes to tariffs. What are some of the arguments that New Delhi might raise?
Well, Vishnu, President Trump so far has made tariffs as a principal driver of his diplomatic action as far as what he seems or what his administration believes to be the offending countries. India, of course, much lower down the pecking order when it comes to those offending countries, so to say, to the United States of America. There are some thorny issues. You mentioned one, Harley Davidson. Non-specific to United States, India's long-standing position is that the trade should be fair and balanced between all the countries. Now, when we talk of such large trading partners as India and United States, obviously there would be some fissures, obviously there would be some thorn on the side of each side. You have to address those issues by the by. And as this administration takes shape and as President Trump goes forward and elucidates on the American policy, India will also have its own major policy concerns. And as is the nature of the democracies, no answer can be found overnight. And that is a point that Indian side would like to emphasize to the President Trump's administration, to President Trump personally by Prime Minister Modi. And as far as we have seen in the relationship during the first Trump era, both these leaders do share a personal chemistry.
Yes.
And once you have a personal chemistry and understanding, it is my sense that at that level, you can probably get over these issues which may appear thorny to begin with, but then at the end of the day, in the diplomacy, this is the job of the diplomats and the administrations to find out answers to the tricky and the thorny issues. So to my sense is that is a beginning well made. Once the Prime Minister is here, at the apex of the level of the governance, at the apex of the level of the democracies, there is no answer that cannot be found. Only thing is, you need time and patience. Obviously, any new incumbent administration, not only in the United States, but anywhere in the world, is generally a little short on patience because they all want to deliver results, and results that are seemingly to the people of their countries being delivered in real quick time. Now that's where lies the challenge. You have to take these issues. These are not issues that have arisen over a period of last 6 months or 1 year. These are issues that have developed over decades. And
right.
The answer of these issues, such as trade tariffs, trade imbalance, etc., can also be found patiently. So in patience lies the key, and I think my sense is when the top leaders meet, that point can be further buttressed and bolstered.
Ambassador Sandhu, I would say 15, 20 years ago, or even 30 years ago when I started as a journalist, there was never any question of India and the United States being close strategic allies. We are now global strategic allies. We trade extremely high-level intelligence. People don't want to talk about that. But that is all based on foundational agreements, which both sides have worked through over a period of decades. There have been huge differences between both sides, but ultimately we've come together. How are these foundational agreements, which form the legal premise in America for taking this relationship forward, how is that defined where we are today?
So, Vishnu, I can't help but, support what Nikunj said, that, look, there are going to be challenges. There are always challenges. And these are the opportunities. So it is the responsibility of those who are at this time responsible for this relationship to ensure that it moves. And I will only add to what Nikun said about the challenges which have been coming and how we have surmounted. Do remember in Trump 1 that when China came uninvited, United States came strongly in favor of India. And also at end of his presidency, he gave an award to Prime Minister Modi, the highest award of United States. So therefore, this relationship will certainly navigate. There is no doubt that it's going to be a number of issues like you have mentioned. Each of these foundational agreements have gone a step further. And as I mentioned to you, look, there is going to be a strategic conversation. In fact, if you heard NSA on Sunday speaking on American TV channels, he mentioned about India, that India would be an important input for many of the international problems like, for example, Ukraine, Russia. So all these aspects, the strategic aspects, they will come in. But it's very important that they are meeting early and the overall relationship. Look, the navigation through trade and some of these other problematic areas will be part and parcel of the overall relationship which United States and India has, not only in strategic, but also in healthcare, in IT, digital, startup, all what we have been talking about. And of course, not to forget energy.
Right. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's just hope that, the atmosphere of working together, works and continues, that there is a give and take in the relationship, that the foundation remains intact and there are no hiccups along the way. I think both sides need each other. We leave it over there. Thank you, Ambassador Sandhu, very much for being with us.
Vishnu, that, as he said, let's be patient and we will come there. Don't worry.
All right.